Avrima's not going to be the main branch until Mutations and Elders at the earliest. That's when I would expect it. When the dinosaur loop is complete, I can just get rid of the legacy. Off to its sad little box it goes.
Alright, gang, there were 2 streams today, because of course there was, and gratefully I missed most of Dondi's, and what little I caught was essentially useless except for this clip here. Everyone's been curious for quite some time about when Avrima branch is gonna overtake the Legacy branch, etc., and there's still a lot up in the air as to what's gonna happen to Legacy, because I've heard sometimes they'll say, oh, it's gonna be deleted, and other times they're gonna say it's gonna stay in like a beta branch situation, kind of like what Avrima is right now, where it's gonna be an optional side thing, but it's not gonna be the main one anymore. What they're actually gonna do, I have no idea. He says here it's gonna be put in a little box, which may suggest it's still gonna stay around theory, but no idea, honestly. I think personally they should just leave it around for those who like it. Just keep it in a separate branch. That's it. You get 2 games for the price of 1. Honestly, great deal, and those who enjoy it can continue to enjoy it. Those who want to see the past can go explore it. I don't see any problem with it. I mean, I know it's old and embarrassing for the devs, but I mean, people still enjoy playing on it for a reason. If I were to continue playing on it, it would definitely be for the map, because the map design in that game, or I shouldn't say that game, that version of the game was just so much better. I really, really liked the aesthetic they had in that one instead of Tropical Dino map number 50,000. I really do not like the constant need for tropical stuff with dinosaurs. It drives me up the wall. I don't like seeing it. It's just unpleasant. I don't like it. I liked the more temperate zone they had before. It really hit home with the whole, you know, modern feel, so to speak. It just felt better, but whatever. Anyways, it is what it is. That's what was said. This was the only clip that was really useful on Dondi's. He played some sounds later, like Hyper Giga, I should say, and all those others. But it's nothing of use here, so don't need it. After this is going to be Amarok, and while he said he was going to be doing the taco, when he posted the stream, the taco was essentially sidelined. We get to see a tiny amount of it, and the rest was bug fixing. Most of it was trying to fix the queue system. Then he has the taco up for a little bit, and then someone, I guess, mentioned the fact that sea turtles weren't spawning in. And so he goes full focus onto that, and maybe kind of, sort of, a little fixes it? Kind of? I'll show a little tiny bit of that, but a lot of it was waiting around because he's going between engines and all sorts of other stuff. It was really, really boring to go through. Like, obnoxiously boring. We do get to see a tiny bit of idling taco, but that's essentially it. The rest of it's just gonna be verbal, this, that sort of thing. So, let's get into that.
You know, it's coming back once Hypno sorts out the balance issues. It's still here. I think it has issues with like stamina, and like you can cheese it by biting its tail and stuff sometimes, and I think stamina's the biggest problem, so I don't know how we're going to handle that. Because I mean, what's this Nonto supposed to do if it's getting attacked and it runs out of stamina?
And some stuff regarding this Nanto AI, which, frankly, I haven't played in so long I didn't even realize was once again removed from the game because of issues. It really never does cease to amaze me how often they break the dinosaur AI. It just... wow. Anyway, here's hoping it actually works this time and is actually in the game by the time I'm able to play it properly, but, you know. He does go on a little bit longer about trying to prevent people from cheesing it and so on and so forth, and if you do find a way to cheese it, to, you know, let him know so he can try to prevent it for the next time. So if you're one of the ones who thinks Tenanto is just too easy, record it, send it to him, and he can try to tweak it and make it stronger. So not a whole lot to say on that one, let's move on to the next.
So this is kind of what it does, anyway. So it's like a little heat map, tells you like where the dying as it going, and you can like select your classes and change your colors, select the server, the time period, and then you can move the map around and hide the map, so you can just see. Oh yeah, it gives you like a kind of tells you where players are going and they're up to, their growth and stuff. So kind of gives us like good information of what players are up to. The map. Pretty good. I probably loaded too much data. 16 hours. Ooh, baby. Oh yeah, that's kind of the. Been working on this a little bit recently. I think it's pretty cool now. So you can like follow players like this one. And then little Gallimimus is cruising along here. Down here now. Well, they're almost the same colour. Probably shouldn't load all classes. Could do like Onto Carno.
And then the map broke, so it didn't even show the Carno and Tenanto ranges that he was going for, but you guys get the idea. His audio here is also incredibly funky, and so it's not just me, the noise gating thing to try to keep his music out, because I have no idea if that's copywritten or not. It could be a generic playlist that's, you know, safe for streamers and all this, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's safe for YouTube, and then we know. Anyway, that aside, it sounded like there was like a breeze or something. It was very, there was a lot of harsh audio noises that were happening during this period, and it lasted quite a long time. It seemed to come and go. But anyway, that aside, heat map stuff. Yeah, it was kind of interesting, so I tossed that in. Not public or anything, but, you know, fancy to see. And of course really lets you see just how dead those dead zones are. Dang. You hate to see it. It's so sad, really. Like, there's just large sections of map no one ever goes to. Can't imagine why. Alright, on to the next one.
So when you go to a beach, right? So the way the spawn system works for those, and it's the same for fish, is that like there's like a spline. So the spline has like a bunch of different points on it, and the spawn system will find the 3 closest points to where you are at that moment, and then it will select one and it will spawn them all in that area instead of spread out over the 3 points, which might actually be better. And I did want to have a look at changing that so that it would spawn over the 3 points, so maybe they'll be easy to find that way instead of, because you'd either have to go left or right at the beach, and if you go left and they spawned right, you'll never find them. So that could be contributing to the problem, but I feel like you would find them. Yeah, distributing the spawns is more realistic, but they move around, so I feel like it might not make much of a difference. But they just free roam, man. They're free as a bird. But they don't like wander off. Like if they are too far away from a player, they despawn, and then they get cleaned up and they'll respawn again. Someone else gets closer.
His audio improved significantly here, as you can tell, but I still have to noise gate it because of the obnoxiously loud music. So here we go. AI spawns. He explained how they work, more or less. I don't have to repeat it, you just heard it. Honestly included because it's fascinating to hear how exactly the AI, you know, chooses how it spawns and all that. Chooses some points, it wanders about, and if it wanders too far, it gets deleted, which is absolutely fantastic considering, you know, load on the server, and if there's no one around to eat it, I mean, why should it be there? As fun as it is to encounter, you know, AI just kind of wandering around doing its own thing, that should probably happen within a radius of the player rather than just all the time because, well, we've seen how it happens to the servers. So in this case, it works out pretty well. As long as it appears there's magically AI just wandering around when the player is nearby, the player's never going to be the wiser. So it works out for everyone in the end. Honestly, I like the sound of this system. It's a nice middle ground between what they wanted to do, where, you know, there's just things wandering around and you go find them, and how it used to work where it would spawn near hungry creatures and whatnot back in Legacy. And I'm not saying the Legacy system is great or anything, it promotes AFKing and all this stuff. However, it reduces a lot of load on the server. so we can't exactly deny that. And as we've seen in prior streams of his, the stasis and all this other stuff for the AI would always bork, and they'd still end up taking a ton of space on the server, so it's best to just only have them around when there's a player around to see them. Because otherwise they're taking up AI slots, and then we don't get food, and. Very nice. I like the sound of it. And as long as it works, I mean, hey, it works. As long as the turtles don't go out into the ocean as he found out they do later, but we'll get to that when we get to it.
Why ball AI spot my dino while underwater? Yeah, it's a bug, mate. That's a report. There's a report for that one.
I included this one just so people know, hey, it's been acknowledged, they're working on a fix, all that fun stuff. On to the next one.
The new chicken. Where's it at? There it is. Get out of here, chicken. It does little, like, flappy McGee's. Ah! Ah! What the hell? Why does it want... This is an aggressive chicken, man. You're not meant to do that. What the heck? Oh, I'm gonna have to go smaller. I mean, bigger.
Chickens now appear to jump and flap around, which is pretty neat. They also seem to attack small Utah raptors, well, smallish ones, even if they're not necessarily supposed to do that. So, yeah, whether that part makes it in, I don't know, but it looks like they're gonna jump and flap around, which is pretty neat. Honestly, this was just to show off the chicken. That's about it. Nothing too fancy. Let's go to the next one. And finally, the next one, the moment of truth, our precious little Taco, the reason most of you are probably here. There he is. That itty-bitty boy. None of the dialogue here was worth mentioning, he was just cooing over it, basically, so nothing of note from him. Honestly, Taco's cute, so I agree. I can't really blame him. Look at that little guy, look at that little face. Ah, precious. I'm excited to see the Taco in again. I hope its sounds are similar to how it was in Legacy as well. I think I've talked about it before, but I really liked the sound design in the Legacy version. It just... it has a certain tone to it that I didn't really find there in Avrima. And maybe it's because the sounds actually tend to work. I don't know. But I'll never forget the distant calls of Oros and Tacos, and later avocados as well, and I didn't even play that much of Legacy, but the way it sounds and everything is still somehow nostalgic, and I'm not sure why, because again, I didn't play it that much, especially compared to most of you who have hundreds or thousands of hours in it. I just barely have over 100 last I knew, and most of that was in Avrima, so it's not like I played a ton of it, but somehow when I think about the sounds and stuff, it's just, it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy. There's a certain stock sound, it must be, of a bird call that sounds similar to, I think it was Oro, that I'll hear every now and again in the room I have in IDV. And so every time I hear that, I think of the Isle, and it fills me with joy. And I don't know why, because again, I didn't play it that much, and it's not like I greatly enjoyed it or anything, but I suppose it's just the way the sound is. I don't know, can't quite explain it. But anyway, that's enough gushing over Oro and, or not Oro, friggin' Taco, and the sounds and stuff, which we don't even get here. There were no sounds attached to the Taco, by the way, which is another reason I stripped the audio. There was nothing. He idled, and that was it. And this is also basically the last we see of him unless it's a still model, so if you're here just for Taco, this is it. There's nothing else, so you can just go on and you'll lose absolutely nothing. The rest of this is him answering some questions or explaining some things, but a majority of the stream beyond this point was him trying to fix the sea turtles, so I'll go on to that part and whatever else was there because frankly I don't remember most of it. But yeah, that's all for Taco. So if you guys were here for Taco, goodbye, have a great day. For those who are here for whatever else he was talking about, which again I don't actually remember, let's go to the next one.
Yeah, it has a burrow.
Yeah, it has a burrow. I'm going to assume he was talking about Taco here because it was idling on the Taco. He was switching engines and it turned out it targeted the wrong build or something, and weird stuff happened. He was stuck there for, I swear, over an hour, but anyway. He did make a comment after this about being a slow, dumb burrower, but I don't, or slow, dumb hider, I think it was. But I don't know if he was being serious or if he was just doing grumbling. You guys don't understand. He's constantly making jokes, and I'm having to fish through what is and is not a joke. So I don't like it. It's annoying. Like that P2P thing that I posted, I think it was Valentine's Day. I read P2P and I assume peer-to-peer, because, you know, that's how it's used in games. And he probably purposely did it that way. But during this stream, he started talking about pigeon to pigeon, and all of this other stuff about that, and I sat there and realized he had sometimes talked about pigeons in Discord, and I was like, oh great. He was making a joke, and I didn't know, because why would I immediately think pigeon to pigeon when I see P2P? Like, there was absolutely no way. None. At all. Ever. So unfortunately my brain wasn't scrambled enough to read such a mistake, and so it's entirely possible. I would say probable, and I included an edit, and you'll see it in the comment section and below the video. Oh yeah, by the way, he's probably memeing. Oops, sorry again, because how the heck was I supposed to know? I'm not knee-deep in the Discord all the time. You can tell how pleased and thrilled I am to have to deal with devs like this, who will very straight-faced say stuff like this. And it's up to the rest of us to try to figure out if they're being serious or not, and it's gonna end up with problems. Like, I've probably posted a fair few things by now. I'm not even gonna think about the fish prison thing, which he'll still reference from time to time, by the way. Yeah. It's not fun. At all. And this is also why I don't do commentary on the news ones, because it's so difficult to tell if they're being serious or not. That was also part of the reason why I didn't follow Dondi as much, aside from him being basically a Twitter live feed of screaming most of the time and getting angry at people, and I got so sick and tired of it. Although now whenever I try to search for him in Discord after that big Discord username update, his name's a string of ones and zeros, and it's so long and obnoxious that whenever I try to search it, Discord will break and search for people mentioning the ones and zeros rather than it being from Dondi himself. So yeah, I've tried every now and again, which is why the Spino video was late, or picture was late, but frankly it worked out because it got to be a Valentine's Day special, so I'm very happy with that. And yes, I was joking when I said what I said in the description and stuff, but I'm still gonna say it anyway because it's hilarious. So anyway, I've gone on long enough about this, let's just move on.
I want to go over how AI spawns work. Yeah, I mean... So... There are just zones, really. So there's like a zone that covers the entire island, which is chicken and rabbits, and then there's a zone for boars and deers and goats. Whatever else we have. But fish work differently. They use rivers and lakes. Turtles and crabs use beach spawns. And when a player gets close to them, it triggers them to spawn, basically. But it's not really like... We don't know if that's how it's gonna be, like final version of it. We got a little bit of work to do around that works, like balancing and all that kind of stuff, and so we'll see.
Again, this goes a little bit further into the AI stuff from earlier. He does say a little bit extra here and there, so I included this one in as well, even though it's kind of rehashing what was said earlier, minus a few details. So you get little bits and pieces that were in this one that weren't in the other one, and vice versa. So I figured it was best to include this one for those of you keeping track on your little scoreboards and all that. But yeah, aside from that, it's similar enough to what we already heard, so I'm not gonna add too much more on that. Hopefully it offers something new for you guys, and yeah, let's move on.
There's a few changes that I'm going to work on now. So I'm going to do the Psittacosaurus, so get it set up in the behavior and get it spawning. And then I am reworking the Pterodactylus and the Compies so that they use Niagara instead of being like individual characters. Because server performance for one, and they can actually react better. Or they can not react better, but like they'll look better. So like, you know how sometimes you see like the compies and they're like eating the corpses, but they're not lined up to the corpse because of physics not being replicated and all that stuff. And so like you can replicate physics stuff and you can get it to work, but it's just stuff like that. So what I think I want to do is have it so that the scavengers, if they're particle systems, they can be client side and they can like actually sit on the corpse, and it might look different to other players, like compared to two different players. If they're looking at the same thing, like they'll be off, but I mean it'll look better for both clients. And then when you bite one, it will like blood supply. It's a whole thing. We'll probably leave like some of them in, like the meat harass, and the like just the general harassment, because I think that stuff.
This was essentially a list of things he wanted to do, and said partway, or well, I would say midway through to the end of the thing. Yeah, none of this really happened. He went on to turtles after this, but anyway. This was when the build was still shifting over, so he was doing the question and answer stuff that I mentioned earlier. Scavengers are gonna get some work, although it sounds like they're gonna keep some of the harassment they have currently. I don't know if it's gonna be toned down or not. I have seen a lot of people saying that the gosh, every time. The Pterodactylus are a little bit too much, especially for babies, because you'll just get your food and people will say immediately they'll be down on you, and they can kill you in 1 to 2 bites as a baby, or juvie I should say. So yeah, I can't say personally whether or not this happens, but I've seen it mentioned an awful lot, so I kinda wanna lean towards it does, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if that's what happens. Whether or not this is going to be adjusted or if it has already, I don't know. However, he was talking a little bit about them, so here we are. Let's go to the next one.
Ava, yeah, we do. It's going to be coming soon as well.
Avocado! We were just talking about that little guy. It'll be coming soon, TM. I don't know how soon this version of soon is. I would like to hope soon, but yeah, it'd be nice to see that little guy again. Like I said, I enjoyed him in the prior one. It'll be interesting to see how he works in this version of the game. Maybe he'll use burrows, who knows? But anyways, good to see. Let's go.
Look, alright, the problem is the original problem that I found. So the problem is that it's not going to spawn anymore because there's already somewhere on this beach spawn. Temp fix for turtles not spawning after the first spawn.
Alright, this was basically the end of the Turtle Saga, which was very long, and I'm not going to subject you guys to that. The TLDR is more or less, turtles spawn, sometimes they go into the ocean. They're still taking up spawn points, for some reason they weren't being deleted. Or, turtles spawn on one portion of the beach, and all of the beach zones seem to be connected, and so a turtle on one beach is going to count towards a turtle on another beach. Some beaches don't have spawn points, there's not a whole lot of beaches. Yeah, more or less that's it. If I recall, he decided to maybe try to move the spawn points a little bit further up, but they still went right back into the ocean, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, that's more or less it. So the people who were talking about turtles not spawning, they were kind of spawning a little bit, kind of, sort of. but also you would have never seen them because they go into the deep ocean. So, yeehaw, I guess. Alright, let's move on.
What are some good suggestions you have seen in feedback part of Discord? Look, I'll be honest with you. I don't read that channel.
And this last one's just for the hee-hee-ha-has because we knew this. And people will claim, oh yeah, they do read it. All the devs will say, oh yeah, we do read it. Yes, and I guess that's it. Anyway, so remember how earlier I was like, oh yeah, send him a video and be sure to, you know, let him know if you're cheesing the AI. Don't do that in the suggestions area or the feedback area or wherever else because they don't read the feedback area. I would suggest going to Punch and asking if you can DM Amarok about a cheese thing. You know, this AI has an issue, and he wants to know about the cheesing so he can help fix his AI. He legitimately asked that of someone because someone was talking about the AI being too easy, and he was like, oh yeah, I'd like to see you do that and all this other stuff. It wasn't worth the time, cut it. But more or less, yeah, go to Punch, ask about it, because as far as I'm aware, you're technically not supposed to contact devs, which means the feedback area is technically where you're supposed to contact them, but they don't read it, so all you can contact legally within the Discord is Punch. So go to Punch. I guess that would be my best suggestion. Because, yeah, he won't see it otherwise. Sorry. Anyway, that aside, real quick, thoughts on the stream. It was boring. Most of it was idling, and then he didn't even get to the taco, which was in the title of the stream, and probably what everyone was there for. I could go on and on. It was boring. You guys heard my thoughts. So it wasn't very handy. Thankfully, however, it means I got to call most of this, and Dondi said he'll stream again tomorrow. Whether or not he will, I don't know. I hope he doesn't, because I would like to do something else with my time, but we know he's probably going to, so yeah. If you like to watch his streams, keep an eye out for that. He tends to start around noon, depending on your time zone. Sometimes it's earlier, sometimes it's later. I can't guarantee anything. And that's assuming he does it all. But anyway, have a great day, night, whatever time you end up seeing this, or this gets posted. Thankfully it's shorter, so I can hopefully get it up sooner. And goodbye!
Thank you.